All right, good morning. How's everybody doing? Made it to the end. This is my diehards. Thank you for being here. The final session of the HR Technology Conference. Big shout out to my friends way down there. I like that group way in the side. Make some eye contact with you. How are you? Good group. I'm really excited about this session, the Ideas and Innovators session. Can I have the next slide, please? The Ideas and Innovators session is a concept that we didn't invent it. We started doing it at our Health and Benefits Leadership Conference a couple of times, where thought leaders, industry experts, just really smart people provide their insights and expertise or crazy, wild, innovative, challenging ideas on all things HR, technology, work, the workplace, leadership, and more. And maybe some other things even we're not expecting to hear at HR Technology Conference, but it'll just make you think. We've got a great lineup of speakers today who've waited patiently while we've worked through some stressful rehearsal time in the last hour or so. And just a couple of notes on what you'll see and how it works. We're using the Ignite format. It's a well-known speaking format. Anybody seen Ignite talks before in that format? Just the people who worked on these decks, it looks like. Well, good. So you're in for a treat. The Ignite format is a fast-paced, rapid-moving, rapidly changing format, but it's a very strict format. Each presenter has 20 slides. The slides will auto-advance every 15 seconds, resulting in a total talk time of 5 minutes. So each speaker's only talking for 5 minutes. I've done Ignite a couple of times myself. I will say this, from an audience perspective, it's great because it's fast-moving, it's changing. If one topic doesn't quite grab you, and 5 minutes later there'll be a different speaker and a different topic, which is cool. It's awesome. From a speaker's perspective, it's quite possibly the longest 5 minutes of your life. So many thanks to my speakers for doing this. It's a bit of a risk as a speaker. It's a bit of a challenge. And I think the nature of it being a challenge is why this group of people stepped up and were willing to do it this year. So many thanks to them. One other quick technical note, and I'm saying this on behalf of the speakers. We learned a lesson today about consolidating multiple PowerPoint decks and Keynote decks into one old laptop that didn't have a lot of custom fonts on it or wasn't quite prepared for all the really cool and elaborate things many of our speakers did. We did our best in the last hour to try to fix everything. You may see a slide or two that doesn't look perfect. The reason it doesn't look perfect is not your speaker's fault. I was going to say it's my fault, but I really don't want to take the blame for it. But all right, we'll say it's my fault and possibly Ed Chase's fault. One of our faults. All right, I think that's it for this. Let's switch the display to my deck up here if we could. All right, so I'm going to bring up the speakers one at a time. When they give me the high sign, I will kick it to their first slide, and then the countdown clock will begin. If the countdown clock somehow doesn't work, and we unfortunately didn't have a time to test every slide, I have the clicker speakers, and if I need to, I will click. All right, here we go. Next up, a good friend of mine, Mike Sanka, SVP Analytics, Equifax Workforce Solutions. Please welcome Mike.
Thank you. Hey, before I get started, I do want to say we think we have it tough as presenters up here. I'd like to point out there's a gentleman right here who is translating for the hearing impaired. I'd like to give him a round of applause for what he's having to do. This is an unbelievably difficult job. I want to apologize in advance for slide 15, which is going to go at a pretty good clip. So, all right, let it roll.
Here we go.
All right, I'm here today to talk to you about how to survive an HR technology project. You're all HR technologists. You're here. You want to know. This is sort of a Swiss Army knife, tools and tips, how not to fail. But if you're going to fail, fail fast. There's a lot of literature out there right now about failing fast, going through an iterative cycle. You have Agile, you have Lean. It lets you know what failures might occur in the future, and you can work through those. But remember, fail carefully. Some failures are permanent, and you're going to have to live with those failures throughout the overall project. Simplicity saves. Let's look at CPR as an example of how simplicity can save. We used to hang people upside down, put them on a trotting horse. The American Indians would put smoke in an animal skin sack and blow it up a lower orifice. This is where blowing smoke up people's ass comes from. Now in CPR, we elevate legs, check pulse, check airway, check arms. It was all too complex. People died. So we simplified and said, chest compressions only. It saves lives. So get rid of some of the crap in your project plan so your project can survive. Simplicity is important. Be productively paranoid. Be paranoid. Have contingency plans. Know at all times something can go wrong. If you feel really good, there might be a problem. Be Reagan, right? And this, trust but verify. Learn how to speak geek. You're going to have a lot of technologists on your projects. They're going to say things like, well, it depends. What they really mean is, I don't know. And then they do a mile-long mumbo-jumbo so you basically glaze over and they can sneak away unannounced. They might also say something like, yes, but, and what they're really saying is, I'm actually going to miss the deadline because it's not a priority for me. But I want to make it sound like it's your fault by saying things like, well, there was scope creep and you failed to define the user stories appropriately. So make sure you're aware. Know your team. Who are you in this picture? Are you A, D? Are you leading the project? Are you a B or F? Ds are great in the project. They're a lot of fun, but they probably shouldn't run the project. Make sure you know where they are. Get a canary in the coal mine. Canaries have saved coal miners' lives for years. Get a canary in your project. They're going to alert you to problems that you have ahead of time. Canaries are very, very different from people who cry wolves. Those people are freaking annoying. Practice the Pareto principle. 20% of the effort generates 80% of the result. 20% of the people also do 80% of the work. Understand how you can align your resources internally and you'll have a much more successful project. There's another law that you need to know is the law of diminishing returns, which is another way of saying more pain, no gain. Ultimately, you continue to pour resources and people into a part of the project that doesn't work where it can go to a more effective use. Now, the most important part where you see law of diminishing returns come in is the number of people in a project. And we've all seen this. Certainly if you add more people in a project, it's going to be more productive. But at some point when you add too many people, you get in death by committee. And the message here is don't be afraid to kick people off the project team or uninvite them, especially if they're not helpful. Marketing matters. Be a branding expert on your project. Make sure you get out there, do webinars, do training. And if it's an international project, please make sure you do good translations. It can lead to a lot of confusion overall. Differentiate deadlines. You can't have all the deadlines be equal. Put the right emphasis on the right syllable. Otherwise, people are going to get confused and they're going to ignore all of your deadlines. Make sure you underscore the important ones. Have a sense of humor. There are two things it does, for the love of God. It allows communication to occur and people to address issues in an open way, and it's a hell of a lot more fun because it relieves stress. And finally, keep it positive. Ernest Shackleton in 1914 took a group of 27 men, went down to Antarctica to discover the South Pole. The ship crushed, went in the ice. He took the crew, the people, the supplies, the dogs, went all the way around the archipelago of Antarctica to the last island. They got in a life raft, they sailed 900 miles through a hurricane, 80-foot seas, onto an island, climbed a 10,000-foot mountain, went in, came back, and rescued everyone else 3 months later. I'm very sorry. And he kept it positive, and they all lived. They all lived because he kept it positive. You won't have to eat your dogs. Finally, if you do fail, quote famous dead people. Tell your boss, I'm a Calvinist. Nothing happens that which God did not willingly know, which is another way of saying, it's God's fault, it's not mine. Or you could say that you're a fan of Thomas Hobbes, who was a determinist who said all human action is caused by preceding events, which means it wasn't my fault, it's whoever started this project. It's their fault. If you don't like Calvin or Hobbes, you might want a contemporary source choosing Calvin and Hobbes. Love the sin or hate the sin, which is another way of saying, hey, even though I failed in this project, can I still have my bonus? Thank you very much. I hope you found this helpful.
Woo! Great job. Fantastic. That was a super, super job, Mike. I love a good Calvin and Hobbes reset all day long, so thank you. Couple quick things for me. First off, thank you to our 9 speakers. I feel like now we're in the club. We have 9 new best friends, HR Tech Ignite veterans, Ideas and Innovators veterans. Huge round of applause for our speakers again today. I had thought wrapping up the conference, I would have said going in that the hackathon, the HR Tech hackathon we did yesterday, that was my favorite session of the conference. Now it's my second favorite. This was my highlight of the conference for me personally. So thank you so much. I just want to say a couple quick things. First of all, thank you to all our attendees for being here. Now, obviously, this conference is for you. We hope you had a great experience. We hope, of course, to see all of you back next year in Chicago for a change, and I think that's going to be exciting and fun. So hope to see many of you again next year in Chicago. Second, I want to thank conference co-chair Dave Shadovitz. I want to thank the team that puts on this show and executes the show, Ed Chase, Vicki Dennehy, Craig Lutman, and the whole team. I can't name them all. They do a great job for you, for our attendees, for our exhibitors, and for our speakers. So many thanks to the team at LRP for another great job. I had a great experience here again this year. I hope you did too. Please let us know what you think. Please fill out your feedback forms. We want to get better. We want to make this conference relevant for you and help you and your organization succeed. So with that, I say thank you, and I'm officially closing the 18th HR Technology Conference. We will see you next year in Chicago. Thank you.